Hi, I'm Karyn Calabrese, and I live in the Chicago area. I've been a plant-based eater for over 50 years now, and it's my life.
So what year was that about?
Okay, you can ask me anything but numbers, okay? Other than my age, I tell the joke when I was in 8th grade, I had third year level reading skills and whatever in 5th grade, so I just stay away from numbers. So when did I become? Here's the answer to that. It wasn't that I became, it was an evolution for me. I didn't one day wake up and read a book and it said, hey, let's be vegan, let's be raw foodists, or there weren't any around. I had no idea. It wasn't a thought. My childhood, I was very constipated. And the doctors told my mother it's just her system. So by the time I was a teenager and my skin was breaking out and I was having all kinds of, women's cycle problems and whatever, and my mother discovered carrot juice. And she said, Karyn, you know what, I've heard and read that this can make you go to the bathroom. So I started drinking the carrot juice and going to the bathroom, by the way, and being slightly obsessive compulsive. I was drinking gallons of it, slight exaggeration. But I was drinking and I was pooping and going to the bathroom and my skin was clearing up. And I mean, it was incredible how I was starting to feel. I was coming alive, literally. So what happened during that period was, I've always loved to cook and make food. I was making some food for the family. I was probably about 18, 19, somewhere around there, I'm not sure. I was making chicken soup and I'd thrown the chicken in the pot and I forgot about it. And I went back and the legs were floating over here in the skin and I became totally repulsed. I mean, it was like and I thought, what are you doing? So you see, now I make the correlation that is because of all the living food I started putting into my body, the balance of humanity I was bringing to myself. I just couldn't eat the chicken floating around in the pot anymore. So I never made a conscious decision to be a vegan.
Hold on, what was that? Is there a dog in here?
Yeah, my dog wants to come say hi to me. I'm sorry.
Who's this?
This is Matthew. This is Matthew, my love of my life. They say Mommy wouldn't eat me, she wouldn't eat a cow, she wouldn't, no. I'm so sweet. He's such a good boy. He's got a paralyzed left side, but he doesn't know it. I just, it doesn't bother him. Right? You gotta either get in this chair. You want to say hi to Jeff? And he loves vegetables. Like when I'm making, celery is the only thing he doesn't like, but he loves red peppers and kale. And
that's actually a question I ask people. Is your dog vegan?
No, he's not, but you can ask me that. You can ask me whatever I think you notice I don't have a problem talking, huh? You're going to have to go down. Come on. I got to talk. He'll settle down in a minute. Or you can't get up here with me. That's what he wants. Would you please lay on the floor? Thank you. All right. I was talking about how I became a vegan, the evolution of it, and I didn't pick up a book and just read it and decide, oh, I'm going to be plant-based. I was making chicken soup, the parts were floating all around, and I became repulsed by what I was doing and the thought. So this is why I truly believe that it isn't a natural human instinct to eat dead flesh. I think we've only learned to do it. I think it's part of the process that has been established in our world for whatever reasons. That's another political conversation. But it feels like the norm, but it isn't our true humanity. We aren't carnivores by nature. And I see it all the time with the people I work with, because I don't start people out, you're going to be plant-based or you're going to be this. Let's just clean out your body and see where your body, mind, and soul and brain take you. And so I didn't say I'm going to be a plant-based, I'm going to be a vegan. It just happened. There were very few people around it doing back in those days. I just kind of stuck to my guns and I started juicing more and learning more. And I always loved to cook and make food, so I was able to make most of the stuff I made in the animal world in the plant-based world for myself at the time. And then I opened up restaurants and, the rest is my history. But it never occurs to me to go backwards. And I know in this day and time, I've seen a lot of people on social media that are hardcore, raw this and hard that, and all of a sudden, oh, it was bad for me, and I have to have meat now. And I address that in the fact that it was an idea, not a biochemical reaction. I think people, when they take themselves over the bridges can be more lasting. And I'm not saying there's a right or wrong. I'm just saying I could never go back.
Why do you think others have a hard time with it?
It's a gravitational pull to go in the direction that other humans are going in. And if this is the way the world has been set up, this is the way the world is going, you know, we're symbiotically connected to each other. Literally, we are all part of everything, even the trees and the sun. We are connected. So if the collective is going in this direction, there's a pull to take you into that direction also. I don't think there's a lot of bad, evil people. I think there are a lot of misguided, confused, uninformed, and just life. We don't set up our world to teach people connection. In fact, we do just the opposite, and it's not getting any better, folks, with our phones and things. And listen, I know we need the modern contraptions, but it's taking us further and further away from our connection with each other. And I'm not in love with that. But back to why do people have such a hard time? Well, the body it kind of gets used to what it's used to. You know, if your mother has been giving you these animal products, even cow's milk from birth, your body gets used to it. Or, no, that's not true. Your body doesn't get used to it because, you know, babies are throwing up, babies are having diarrhea, babies are having baby rashes, and all of this is a direct correlation to what they're being fed. It's the habits, it's the way of the world, there's a gravitational pull, and you really have to fight against it. And the best way I found of doing that, well, I opened up businesses to bring more people around me, is the collective people getting together like us, like-minded people on the tribe. So we raise that vibration and it gets to be more the norm. And by the way, it's happening. What I've seen happen in the past 50 years does my heart wonders.
What were some of the challenges you experienced and how did you overcome those throughout the years?
Some of the challenges that I've encountered, oh wow. Well, first of all, I was that family member you could never invite to dinner. You know, they just stopped inviting me out. When I was in, you know, from dating, from time, people were like, really, you can't eat this, you can't eat that. And in the beginning, like a lot of people are, you're kind of gung-ho and you're trying to force it and push it on everybody and give everybody the lesson of why you're doing it, which, by the way, is the worst thing you can do. Believe me, nobody wants to hear how wrong and bad and stupid they are. I'm not saying you have to say it that way. But so I was disinvited or left out of a lot of things, I think, because of my food choices, because you make people feel uncomfortable. I made people feel uncomfortable. You know, I walk in feeling healthy and great and whatever, and not even judging what you're doing, and you may not feel comfortable with what you're doing. Like I said, it's not a natural human instinct to do that. We've only learned, and somebody starts to plant little seeds and sprouts that maybe you're not doing what's best for you and you're not ready to change. So there's so many ways to bring people uncomfortable around you, and when people are uncomfortable, they attack. So I got attacked a lot for my ways and thoughts and how I lived. When I opened up the first raw food restaurant, it was the second one in the country. I opened up here in Chicago. Nobody was, forget raw, plant-based, vegetarian was a big deal then. And I opened up this restaurant and people thought I was insane. I mean, they really walked by me and put their fingers down their throat. And being an African-American, doing this, the black people thought, what has she gone nuts, you know, with what she's doing. I've encountered a lot of people being uncomfortable around me, working at trying to make me feel uncomfortable, being judged a lot. But you know what, the beautiful side of it is too, there have been a lot of people that have told me they've been influenced by me and my lifestyle and what I do. And I've been recognized in a lot of arenas, you know, Oprah and all that other. But so, you know, you give and you take, it's life. You know, there's no easy road that you're going to get big results from anyway with anything you do. So, you know, this was just the path I was put on, and it's felt so right. All with everything that's happened, and some of you know my stories where things went this way and things went this way and this way, and now I'm up and doing it again. So I wouldn't know what else to do with my life. Could you be with somebody who isn't vegan? Oh, could I be with somebody who isn't vegan? Well, here's the deal. This is a cute story because I could never have sex, sleep with anybody that eats meat, because you smell differently, right? But I say that and people go, but my husband smokes cigarettes, right? And people go, how could you be with somebody that smokes cigarettes? The meat thing, the slaughter thing, he's killing himself and I make him keep his cigarettes to himself. I couldn't be intimate, but I would say 3/4 of my friends are not plant-based eaters, are not raw food eaters. And there's a very specific reason I feel for that, because You see, I'm so much more than my food, you know? And when you're around plant-based and vegan, that's all they talk about is food. God bless you, you know? But I play the piano, I dance, did double dutch last night, I read hundreds of books. I do so many, I read politics, I read novels, you know, fiction novels, non-fiction. I mean, I'm so much more than just, politics, I have my thoughts on that. So I'm so much more than my food. So I tend to hang around more multifaceted people who have a lot of interest, not just in you're vegan, you don't eat meat, you know, and a lot of finger pointing. Not to say they're perfect people, but I just like diversity. No, I couldn't date someone that would need to bring the animal, or live with someone that needed to bring the dead animals in my house and put them in my refrigerator. So I couldn't have someone who actively needed to eat animals in my house or eat animals. No, I couldn't do that. I'm just trying to stay as close to the natural order of things. Am I 100% successful? No. That's what I'm working on, is the natural order of things, because that's how I think we're supposed to live. Now, do I get to do it? You know, I have this little ongoing thing with the fruitarians. Well, the natural order of things, we are supposed to be fruitarians, but the fruit is it's no longer like it was when we created the sugars in it. We aren't roaming the planet to pick our fruit as being delivered to our house, or we're going to Instacart. You know, it's not like we had to climb the tree. So you needed that kind of insulin, sugar, you know, infused into your body. So yes, I'm going against the grain. I don't think we could be vegetarians. Humans who are eating animals, they're getting cancer and sick. What you put in is what you create. And all of this was designed long before your thought process came in, you know, to make the world what you think it should be. This was designed a certain way. And are we living in that design? No, it's very difficult with the oxygen levels and just everything thrown at us. But anywhere I feel I can find a little bit of sanity and connection, I take it. Am I always right and perfect? Absolutely not, because I think when you're perfect is when you're gone anyway. So you got nothing left to learn. You can just look at what we got to break it down, period. Yeah. Could you go and stick your teeth in that cow, you know, and tear it apart? And no, you couldn't. It's just, for me, common sense.
Yeah.
It's, for me, common. You can give me a million scientific studies, you can get, but it's just, I just go by common sense. Humans can live and exist on meat, too. Doesn't mean that it's the right way. You're kind of playing Russian roulette, in my opinion. You're taking a chance, and you can take a chance. I say take in all the information you can in every direction you can, which is why I have thousands of books, and that what falls right in your heart and your brain and your thought, that's what's right.
Do you think we could all be vegan?
Do I think we could and survive? I think that's the way we were meant to be. I don't think we were meant to eat animal products. But depending on the process that you came through to be here, that's where you're going to be and what you have to learn from. And some people are going to learn it and some people aren't. Just like some people are going to be able to do calculus and math, and I'm never going to be able to do it. And that's just this experience. There doesn't have to be a right or a wrong or a good or a bad. It's the experience and what you take from it and how you live and how you evolve from it, how you treat the people you serve the planet with. If my thought process was going to create a bad situation for you or anybody, then it's time for me to look at it and think about it. But I don't feel that with anything I am. But maybe I'll talk to somebody, well, I will learn that. That's why you have to have diversity. This all be the same. We have to accept the diversity, though. I tell the story often. So I have a wellness center that we're in, and all types of people come. Anyway, there was a guy sitting in my reception area, and he had on a T-shirt, and it had 2 rifles on it, and it said, "Death to the infidels" on it. You know, and he was, I will make it kind of typical, the trucker hat and the plaid shirt, and he was sitting there looking very uncomfortable. I'm sure his girlfriend was having a colonic or something. And he was looking very uncomfortable, and I won't say what else he was doing. So I walked by him, and, you know, me being African-American and my receptionist you could see he was just uncomfortable. And I walked by and I said, "Hey, what does your T-shirt mean?" And he said, "Nothing," you know. And I said, "No, come on, what does your T-shirt mean?" He said, "Nothing," because he didn't want to tell me. So I finally got him, he says, "Death to the infidels. We shouldn't have all these foreigners in our country," and blah, blah, blah. And he started a little bit of a tirade. And when he finished, I said, "Well, you know what? I don't agree with you one bit." I said, "But you know what brought me over here to you? Look how kind and loving you are with my dog." My dog was licking him all over the face, and they were having the best time while the death to the infidel. Well, you know what? I know a lot of plant-based raw vegans that aren't that loving and kind to my dog. Do you know what I'm saying? So you have to pick and choose from every human being. We're here for the experience together. So you have to grow and learn from every human being you meet where you can. So death to the intervals, I mean, I'm sure he would have strung me up if he had a chance, you know. But that's joking, I don't think that for real. But my dog was all over him and my dog doesn't even love everybody either. So, you know what, there's something in this man for me to connect with, that's all.
I find that there is tremendous diversity amongst the vegan world.
Yeah.
Every walk of life is embracing it. Do you think it's an ideal situation when some people are eating animals in the same way that diversity is ideal?
Well, do I think it's ideal? I think there's always something to work toward. I don't think anybody should eat animals, ever, in my world, but that's how I think. And that's what I've learned, and that's what I respond to. So everybody has their own experience here. And I don't feel qualified to judge anybody's experience. Do I like it or not like it? Yeah, I can have that in the back of my mind, but to judge it, no, I can't.
Do you think it's important for others to be vegan?
I think it would be important for everybody to be a vegan. It would be a softer, gentler planet, I hypothesize. If we weren't killing and maiming and torturing the animals we live the planet with, the vibration would change so incredibly in my feeling and in my thinking. You're not just eating the flesh of the animal, you're eating the vibration of the animal and what that animal has endured. And I believe that all comes out in parts and becomes a part of you. So yes, I would love a utopian environment. I don't know, but we don't have it. Will we ever work toward it? Be a great thing.
You think we'll ever see a vegan world?
In my lifetime, no. I don't think we will in my lifetime. And trying to predict the future is, there's so much diversity. I just don't know. And I don't want to say, it would be a lovely thing, you know, it would be a beautiful thing. We might have that utopian environment, but, you know, I'm sure man would find a way to screw it up with something. I'm just joking.
In what ways do you feel that being vegan has been advantageous to your life?
In what way do I feel being vegan? Have you looked at me? No, just joking. I said, I do it as much for vanity as I do for health, ladies. Okay? Because everything out here is showing what's going on inside. So I haven't done fillers or surgery or any of that other stuff. And I am definitely not who I was 10, 15 years ago. But I do it for vanity. You know, the lines that you get in your face, they all translate to what's going on with your organs, your skin, your hair. It all translates. And I do it for health, of course, because I was very sickly and I had terrible skin and blah, blah, blah. I also feel that I have as much clarity and focus as I did when I was younger. I'm 75 years old, guys, so I'm not aging at the rate my peers are. I haven't been sick in 40-something years, 48, 40. I haven't been sick. I don't get colds, sore throats, earaches. I sleep 4.5 hours a night for the past 20 years. I don't need a lot of sleep. You need rest. I need rest, but not sleep. The thought of retiring or, you know, life slowing down, it doesn't even occur to me. And life keeps throwing me stuff, and, you know, I just keep getting up, staying in life until it's time not to, but the clarity, the focus, the drive, the relevancy, everything. It's all a part of how I eat and detox and take care of my body. It's all about how I take care of the most magnificent thing I'll ever be given, me. And I know 2,000% that everything I put in here creates everything from here to here, what's going on with me. I have no doubt in my mind. I've kind of played around here and there, you know, like eating too much of this or that, not animals. And I can see a definite correlation. So what's the other big selling point for me? I feel so in connection to myself. I know how to take care of me. That's it. Because we all know that. We're all born knowing how to take care of ourselves. We are self-regenerating organisms. Part of it's taking care of it, and the rest we know what to do. We've just forgotten. It's been clouded over. There's been so much garbage mentally, physically, and emotionally thrown at us that we build up armor and we forget who we are. So yes, that's my biggest joy. I don't forget who I am and what I can do for me.
In what ways has being vegan changed over the years? Like in the beginning, it was mostly for health. It sounds like maybe it's become more ethical and even vanity. Is there any other things that, is there anything else that's come out of being vegan over the years?
Well, I can say this. I can go anywhere in the world now, and on the menu there's a plant-based item to eat. I mean, back in the day, you know, I go to a restaurant, I go, you got any corn? Can I have it before you cook it? You know, because you don't know what they're going to boil it in either. I'm raw. I would take avocados with me everywhere just so I'd have something to eat. So definitely the world catching on has made it, I think, it's more acceptable, it's easier, it's not a weird word anymore. You know, when I started this 50 years ago, people go, you're a what? Huh? What does that mean? You know, people didn't even understand the meaning of it. So it's a lot more acceptable than it was. And I remember my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, said, Wall Street Journal, that at that time there was less than 1% of 1% of 1% of the population that was plant-based. And now even your fast food chains are putting in plant-based foods. You know, we're everywhere. You know, we're getting closer to the norm, or at least people know what you're talking about. So that's huge. And I credit a lot of the young warriors, the young people out there, you know, really getting the word out. The social media and all of that is really putting the word out. I think with all the darkness happening in the world, it's a beautiful ray of light starting to come through. And hopefully it's going to overtake, you know, light and dark, maybe it will overtake. So I've seen a lot of changes, and they're all good. They're all good. We're just working for that plant-based world together.
Has your reason for being vegan dramatically changed from the beginning? I know that it was health-oriented, and it still sounds like it is. Is there anything else that's really significant that's come to the surface, you know, over the years that...
You know, I didn't just become a vegan overnight. I was a vegetarian, vegan, then raw. You know, it was a journey for me. I hate that word journey too. It was a process for me. Yes, it did just start out for health, and then Vanity came in, and it definitely is about the animals. Initially, I was a vegetarian that wore leather. You know, I had leather pants and leather clothes and bags and shoes and stuff. I didn't love it. I had fur coats in the beginning too, and I'll never forget, I used to have these meetings at my home called Learn to Live International, and I said, oh, I'm giving up my fur coats now. Somebody said, let's take them to the woods and bury them. I said, no, I'll sell them, because at least the animal already died. Let's honor him a little bit, let somebody else wear him for a while. I wasn't in the realm of leather and things like that initially. I am 100% now, and I have been for a number of years, over 20 years now. It evolved, yes, it did evolve for me. I was always tortured by the animals, though. That, even as a child, that bothered me. Eating, I would make remarks, Mommy, what are you doing with the turkey? I'd name the turkey and wouldn't want to eat him. So I think I always had little inklings of this, but yeah, I couldn't do leather and stuff like that any longer, no.
What if a doctor said you had to eat animals?
Well, you know, doctors have told me a lot of things over the years, you know, and I just don't listen. As a matter of fact, I haven't been to a medical doctor other than for broken bones in 40-something years either. I don't, and that's for me. I don't recommend it for everybody, but I'm comfortable with it. If a doctor told me I had to eat meat, I would say I wouldn't. I'm sorry. Or you know what, I'd probably agree with them and just leave. You know, I wouldn't start an argument or a conversation, because I have had a couple of, you know, just because you come in this world doesn't mean your life evens out perfectly. You still get challenges along the way. You still have things to work on. I had something pretty drastic happen, and they told me that I needed to go get a biopsy and this and all right away. And that was 12 years ago. I never went back. So that's for me, and that's what I'm comfortable with. So if a doctor told me to eat meat, I go, okay, leave and do what I'm comfortable with, because I am so strong and secure about my decisions for myself. I just feel so in touch.
How did you break bones? Was it playing the double Dutch thing?
I broke my bones in 4-inch heels, okay, running around my restaurant, and one of the floors was uneven. Actually, though, I've broken so many bones in my body, and it has nothing to do with osteoporosis. Because when I broke this shoulder, I broke this shoulder when I turned 70. You can see I broke it in 17 places. I have a prosthesis here now. And then I broke this shoulder, and I have a knee thing. And this was all from that fall, and 2 or 3 falls. I've always been slightly clumsy, and I don't claim it anymore. And I've always broken a lot of bones my whole lifetime. Even as a child, my mother used to say, if you hurt yourself today, I'm going to spank you. I was just prone to that. I looked it up in Louise Hay and other metaphysical books, since it's been a life habit of mine. And one of the explanations is that you're living in both worlds, the ethereal, this world out here and this world here, and you haven't learned to bring them together. And so I figure I finally learned that, so I'm not going to break any more bones. But I was running around in my restaurant about to teach a class. I had on 4-inch high heels, and the stone was uneven, and I tripped and I fell. But I'll tell you this too, not only did I break all these bones and my forehead was out to here, I made them put me in my hyperbaric chamber before I went to the hospital. They were upset when I got there, but my forehead went from here to down here. I couldn't go to the bathroom by myself. I couldn't dress myself. I couldn't do anything for myself. And I was pretty much going to be that way. My arm was going to go over here, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I'm back to everything, walking, dance classes. I did double Dutch last night, and I was on a walker. So what can I say? I think everything is self-regenerating. I think my lifestyle is 100% why I enjoy the vitality that I do and the resources that keep coming my way.
Is your husband vegan?
My husband's not vegan.
Oh, he's not?
No. My husband's not vegan. He doesn't eat meat or chicken, but he does eat fish. He doesn't bring it in our house. He's not vegan, and like I said, he smokes cigarettes, but he's probably one of the most wonderful men. We've been together 39 years, so he's not going to change. But our house is kind of separated. Like, this is my refrigerator, this is his refrigerator. You know, we found a way to live comfortably, because I see all the best in him, and there's only the best in me. No, I'm joking.
And your children, they were raised vegan?
Yes, vegetarian in the beginning, years, and then vegan. My daughter is 51. She grew up that way. She's made her own choices. My son passed away at 38, and he had his first hot dog at 13 and got violently ill and was a mess after that from then on. And he passed away relatively young at 38. But yeah, they were raised that way. I used to give them a week off from school for staying healthy, where the kids got to stay home sick, and they would preach about the evils of sugar at little birthday parties and stuff. Because I was kind of I was a little hippie chick, and I was kind of like the kids are today now, just, so the kids would go to parties. But they stayed healthy. They didn't get sick like other kids until they reached junior high and started making more of their own choices. And you have to live with the choices.
I can't help but be curious, what happened with your son?
Well, my son was, he was epileptic, and that was part of what took me into this world so strongly, because he was having seizures at 7 months old, and he stopped, and then he had them again, and they had him on all these drugs, Dilantin and phenobarbital, and that's what I started reading and studying more, and took us plant-based and all the chemicals out of the house, and things changed. But he did have a year or two with all those drugs they gave him. Life is life. He didn't have a perfect childhood. His dad and I are divorced, and he did resort to self-medicating. He was later diagnosed bipolar, and it was uncomfortable. But you know what? When you live with that challenge, you know there's nothing you can't get past.
You have 99.9%, you say, raw diet?
Yeah.
So that's high raw, right?
I'm up there, folks. No. I guess you could call it that. No, I'm not. I eat, you know what? I eat the way God intended me. I eat foods raw.
So, like, what are your favorite foods?
Well, I love avocados. I love watermelon. I love, it depends, because I go through periods. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't look for what people would call a balanced diet. Like, I did some dehydrated cauliflower, and that's all I wanted to eat for like 2 weeks, and I will go with what I want to do. So it could be, my favorite right now is probably the little yellow mangoes, and I can eat just that too and nothing else. It's not like I need a lot of variety. Maybe in the beginning I did, but I can eat very mono.
Wow.
But then if somebody puts a feast in front of me and it's raw, I could probably out-eat everybody at the table, But my needs are very small. Viktor Sklavenskas, who wrote Survival in the 21st Century, one of the mentors and beginning of all of this, with Dr. Anne Wigmore, they started the Raw movement, is still my teacher and friend. I would say to him, you know, Victor, I'm fasting now and it's day whatever and I don't even feel any different. And he said, Karyn, what you have to understand is your body has learned to operate efficiently with such a small amount of food that for the body to go into this, of knowing it's fasting, it takes a little bit longer. And he said, and I might add, I don't think there's anything you need to learn about fasting. You need to learn about Shavasana. That's rest, that's doing nothing. So a typical day for me, it varies. I've always got something going on in my dehydrators. As a matter of fact, my ovens are dehydrators. So I have 2 built-in ovens, and then I have other dehydrators. So I don't throw anything away. Right now, I'm kind of really into cauliflower. So I may make it 3, 4, 5 different ways. It really depends on what's going on in my life and what's available.
So do you eat breakfast, lunch, dinner,
Absolutely
snacks,
not.
and all
Absolutely not. I eat when I'm hungry. If I'm not hungry, I don't eat. I don't eat actually anything generally before midday because our bodies aren't set up. And I didn't do this. This is how my body has come to all the years of fasting and cleansing and all the stuff I do. My body, I think, is pretty well regulated to circadian rhythms, maybe. So I just drink water in the morning, you know. And I only drink structured water, and it's been prayed on. You have to come to my house. You just see how I have more rituals. But anyway, so I drink water in the morning. It's got crystals and stuff in it. And it's been sitting on love and gratitude all night and all day. So I'll drink water in the morning. I take in the first and the only food the planet is meant to have after I've done my meditation and prayer and breathing, and I do Agnihotra, the fire ceremony in the morning. Now you know why you couldn't meet me before 12. And then I do all of this stuff. And I go on a walk with my dog, and then I may have juice, like today I made celery juice. But, oh, you know, I've been on such a thing for red pepper juice. I don't know, all of a sudden I have a taste for red pepper juice. That's all I've been drinking, a lot of that. But I'm growing kale and stuff. So, you know, it's not like I have a fixed breakfast. If I want to eat something, I always have seeds and nuts. I always have little jars of chlorella around, so I'm always taking in algae and stuff. Like I said, I'm very unique how I eat, how my body uses all I need. I like to remind people your stomach is the size of your fist, not this whole area. It's a little sack, so we don't really need a lot of food. And the less digestive work the body has, the more energy you're going to have. Think about Thanksgiving and Christmas when everybody eats all that food, how tired me, I'm running around at 1, 2 in the morning because I'm always putting enzymes and oxygen and living matter in my body. So I got no choice.
That's beautiful, beautiful stuff. Do you ever get hungry at night when it's like super late and eat at night, or you try to resist those urges? Because that's one of the struggles I have. It's a huge struggle in this day and time anyway, because the world is still lit up at night, so the body is going, I'm still supposed to be up, and I'm still supposed to be up. I'm supposed to be taking in fuel. So the world is set up to send us into that. Own a restaurant and try not eating after a certain time, you know. So that has been one of my challenges, but I have let it evolve. I work at it when I can. But, and during my fast, of course, you're not. But I always have something that I'm not going to mind mentioning, like, you know, I'm into jackfruit right now, too. It's really good. So I'll have some out in a container. If I decided, which it really doesn't happen that often, but I have something prepared that I can go and grab. So I'm not blindly looking and just taking something. So it's going to be something light to digest and easy, and generally put me back to sleep, the sugar, even in the fruit. I didn't know if you like intentionally tried to, like, even if you're hungry.
After sundown, absolutely.
Yeah.
That is a goal.
Yeah.
It is a choice, I'll put it that way. Mm-hmm. And I go through periods when it's great, and I go through periods when it's not. And I actually, you know, bring that to my emotional state too. You know, what's going on around me, what stresses. And you know what, if I get up and have a peach at 3 in the morning, God bless me if that's the worst thing I decided to do. So whatever I do against my choices, they're not written in stone. It's part of my process.
How do you define veganism?
Yeah, because technically some people might kind of take away from me because I do some honey sometimes. There's a farm that I support, and it's not like it's the agriculture. And the way my thinking goes is, when the bees are gone, it won't matter if you're vegan or not. There will be no world. So, and I'm not killing the bee, and it's not the big agri-farmers. So that's my excuses I give to myself. So I do some honey. Not often. I do a sadhguru thing in the morning where I put just a tiny bit in with neem and turmeric, and I start my day with that after my other stuff. But that's about it. You know, if I make desserts, I use monk fruit and stuff. But you're asking for my absolutes, so I may have a little honey. From what I understand, veganism, you're not supposed to have any type of animal products whatsoever. I've never really looked it up, to be honest with you, but for me, not eating the animals that I can, any kind of animal. I'll tell you something, I won't even kill an ant. You know, I won't, I mean, there's 2 of them that come to visit me every morning.
Ants? 2 ants?
Yes, I know. My husband thinks okay. But they know I'm not going to kill them, and I go, well, you want some first? I put a little crumb over there. Here's the deal, folks. What you got to understand is, every single organism in this world is responsible for us and us for them. Do you understand that? Without this whole ecological system going, so for me to go and kill you, well, I just stamped out a part of something for me. Do you know what I'm saying? So the different definitions of the high and the low and the blah, blah, blah. But for me, it's not killing anything on this planet for my survival. And I don't think I would ever or could ever kill it. I mean, I open up the door to let the flies out again. I put spiders under glass and I take them out. So for me, if I want to term, that would be vegan to me. You know, I'm seeing that every animal that I can survive so that the whole ecoplasm can thrive.
Who are some of your mentors?
Dr. Anne Wigmore. She used to come stay with me at my house when she would teach at the Creative Health Institute. And I would rent a bus. And I would take people from Chicago up to Creative Health to hear her speak, and she would stay with me. And I took her to, she spoke at Unity Church with me, and she was the beginning of the whole raw food movement in our time. I know there were the natural hygienists, but she's the one, and she brought us wheatgrass and all. Victoria's brought us sprouting. So Dr. Anne Wigmore, Victoria's Kovinskas. I kind of like Dr. Gabriel Cousins and a lot he stands for. He was one of the early people that I met on in the beginning. Well, Rachel Solomon, she did the Optimal Health Institute in San Diego, one of the first places for detoxing and cleansing. That I used to go to that place twice a year for 15 years, which is what I really credit my success to, that I detox and cleanse 4 times a year, no matter what. 100% plant-based, 99.9% raw. I don't drink, smoke, or do drugs, recreational, otherwise, and I still detox my body 4 times a year minimum. So I think that's why I'm maintaining the vitality that I am. Who else? And, you know, there is some of the people that I read early on, Hilton Hotima. Oh, Dick Gregory was one of the people I followed and later got to interview. Yeah, John Robbins. Diet for New America, yes. Yeah, I did read his book, but Anne Wigmore and Victoria's Kovinskas were my main influencers to, I feel, a lot of where I am today.
Do you have any success stories that you would like to share, whether you are part of it or not? Others. Just anybody, yeah.
Because I've worked with thousands of people. That's what people come to me for.
Yeah, yeah.
So I have a whole book of testimonials like this.
Oh wow! Where?
Yeah,
it's a book or is it on the website?
It's coming out in the book. No, but I mean, people write me testimonials.
Yeah.
So I've been doing this for 40-something years before. When people only detox to get rid of alcohol and drugs, I was teaching, because I learned it from Dr. Wigmore. I learned it from the teacher. Oh yeah, okay, we worked with a guy last year with stage 3 colon cancer and turned it around in about 5 months. I worked with a medical doctor, internist, diabetic on insulin for 13 years. We got him off his needle. And when I say we, I led him in the direction to what his body needed to do that. I worked with a woman with stage 4 ovarian cancer, turned that around. A woman came to me on 10 medications, she's down to none. Yeah, I mean, that's a natural reoccurrence. And here's the deal. I know the results sound miraculous, but it's not miraculous. We have a God-given right to repair and regenerate. The cells, everything is created to do that. So it sounds like a miracle, but the miracle is that you woke up to put your body back in God's plan. That's the only miracle there. Because our bodies are just, you know, if you cut yourself and you don't do anything to it, won't it heal up by itself unless you, it's designed to do it. You bite your tongue, it heals because it's designed. Well, these diseases, are challenges that are telling us, hey, stop doing what you're doing, stop feeding me what you're feeding me, they're designed to go away too once you start doing what's right. It's really that simple. It isn't this huge scientific equation. Cause and effect is what rules the universe, period. I don't care how you put it, how you go, I just do a little bit of this, or I don't do much of that, or I try. It doesn't matter. Cause and effect. You're going to get a result. And if I've learned anything the most, is that everything I eat is what I become. I even know when I eat too much sugar, and I'm talking about fruit sugar, and I get into trouble with this all the time, I know I'm not thinking the same. I can see things that I do differently and how I react. Everything we put in here becomes a part of who you are, and you can't get away from it. People call it miracles. I see people get off their, my classes were pretty big and everybody'd have to give a testimonial at the end of the class of what they, I had one woman lose 100 pounds in 8 months. She did my detox every other month for 8 months. I've seen people go off medications of all kinds, from blood pressure to, and by the way, guys, that's how I end up with a lot of guys, because you don't want to be on blood pressure medication. It makes you impotent, you know. But they don't tell you that when they give it to you. So cause and effect, everything you do is going to have an effect. And maybe you're taking it for that, but it's going to affect the other stuff there too. And I think that's one of the main things that people need to get a handle on. And it doesn't mean you're going to be perfect, but at least you know why you got and you're doing what you're doing. It didn't come from out here somewhere and randomly select you. It's what you're doing and not doing on a consistent basis. So I have tons of testimonials, and you can go to my YouTube channel. You can see people get up and do testimonials. I've got another book coming out. We'll have more of that in it, because that's what people want to hear, success stories. I understand. Actually, I'm doing a little ebook right now. I'm in the process about becoming vegan, just to give people some little snippets of how to work toward it. And I'm working on the biography. I'm working on that, and then I'm working on, so I told you, I'm always doing 3 to 5 books, reading or writing or something at the same time. I will keep you posted, Jeff, I promise.
As far as transitioning, you know, like somebody just doing this, I mean, isn't it just as simple as just not eating animals?
It's as simple as not eating animals, except that the body is going to react to that too for some people, because you're not putting all the poisons in, so they start to be re-released in your system. And when they're re-released, you can feel a little tired. Oh, I need my meat because I'm getting tired. No, you're getting tired because you're releasing the meat, which is why I think it's so important to do a detox along with the transition, to help your body process all the load of stuff that it starts to, you may, oh, I'm getting a cold. No, the mucus is being released in your system. So yes, you can do that, and millions of people do, and God bless them. I think there's an easier way, and that's why I'm making a little booklet for you. And I believe you should be plant-based. I don't think you should be eating steak today and fasting tomorrow.
Yeah, so that's so cool that you're 100% in tune with everything that
and I was probably doing it before they were born. Go ahead. I'd just like to throw that in, okay?
Have you heard of the natural hygiene movement? It's now the National Health Association.
Oh, okay.
And they just had their conference in Cleveland, Ohio recently. I was just there a few weeks ago. It's like everything you're talking about. Maybe you could speak there when you're...
Give me an introduction. That's what I do. I was just invited to Poland to speak for the Raw Fest. I was supposed to be there July 16th, and I chose not to go at the last minute. And it's not something that I usually deal with. It wasn't so much, but there's a war going on over there. It was in Poland. And everybody is so crazy right now. They've got a monkeypox now. I don't know what kind of pox they're going to come up with next, where I might be stranded someplace. I am not vaccinated, and I've never been vaccinated. I never had my children vaccinated. So we did exemptions, religious exemptions. So it's never been a part of who I am, not just this whole thing. But who knows what they'll require to get back in the country or to leave the country. Or
you occasionally have a little cook, right? You said 99.9, right?
But I'm usually, what would be something that I would have cheated on?
It's a cheat to eat something that's not raw?
Yeah. I have to think about that. I mean, because...
When was the last time you haven't had, or you ate something that wasn't raw? Wow, you're 99.99999.
Right, and I just had that 1% just in case I decide to do something.
one French fry.
Because I don't, you know, the smell of it doesn't appeal to me. The looks of it don't appeal to me. I'm trying to think of something.
No, so I eat groats most morning, you know, and I'll put all kinds of stuff in there, berries and whatever. You don't have any whole cooked foods at all, like not even
I have dehydrated.
Do you have sprouted grout?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you do.
I sprout grains. Oh yeah, I do grains.
So you definitely.
I do grains and seaweed, and my book is Soak Your Nuts. And
so soaking, is that necessary to soak your nuts?
Absolutely, because you break down the enzyme inhibitors. See, they have an enzyme inhibitor to keep the animals from eating it away from us. And so that isn't good for us. So you have to, and then you need it to sprout. You see, otherwise it's in a dead zone. So to make it live, raw food, you have to sprout it. And say you eat a bag of unsprouted nuts, you'll eat a bag, but you sprout them, you eat 1/4 because you're getting more fuel, more bang for your buck. Nice. So if you normally eat a bag, 7 of them would fill you up.
How much of your diet is sprouted?
You know, like I may make a little tiny wrap with some seaweed and put some sprouts in. I have a bunch of sprouts at home right now that need to be eaten before they go bad, so I'll make an energy soup out of it. I'll make with sprouts and avocado and some kind of fermentation. I'll make a soup out of it.
Like daily you eat sprouts?
I don't do anything daily unless I'm on the kick of something. You know, I do wheatgrass, I do vegetable juice of some kind every day. I do coconut water at some point every day. I do mostly liquids, to be honest with you.
Huh. You know, I notice some people, though, the more they eat, maybe like raw and whole food at least, the less they drink.
Well, because if you're eating a lot, you're getting organic water from the vegetables. One of the things I teach is we don't actually live off of chunks of food. We're supposed to chew our food until it's a liquid, and it's the gases from the liquids that are feeding our cells. It's not chunks of food in their feed. It's breaking down. It's the liquid. So I just get it firsthand. I get the liquid and it doesn't have to break anything down, and I have even more energy. I don't do that purposely, though. You know, like if I said, oh, and if I just want, like I have a little nut pate at home that I made day before yesterday. If I feel like I'll get a little piece of pepper and I'll eat that, but I'll be satisfied. But once again, if somebody made a whole thing of raw food, like there's a woman here in Lockport, she has incredible raw food. You know, if she puts a feast in front of me, I'll eat everything up. And what I don't eat, I'll take home to eat tomorrow morning, you know, because it'll still be on my brain. So I'm an eater, but I'm not. I eat not for emotional or because I eat for fuel, my body knows, and any other thing else I do is just, hey, I did it.
That's exactly what Mark Huberman said. He eats for fuel.
Right, that's it.
And I've been saying it ever since I've heard him say it, and I'm so glad you said it.
I eat for fuel, and that's it.
I'm curious, the sprouts, like what kind of things do you sprout?
Radishes, broccoli, sunflower, my favorite, buckwheat. I sprout everything, really. I mean, before I eat it, I soak it, drain it. But I sprout quinoa and grains and wheat berries, and check out my book. I have a lot of stuff for sprouting. What's in it.
And that's the Soak Your Nut?
Yes, I have 2 books. They're both Soak Your Nuts. You need to soak your nuts because it gives you a different type of fuel for your body. That's the main reason for doing it. You're not just filling up, you're fueling.
Now, some things can be kind of tricky, you know, like alfalfa could get risky with like bacteria and stuff. Like, do you ever worry about that? Or?
No, and I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not saying people shouldn't, but it's like yesterday. It was a raw cracker and I had some almond butter and a piece of the cracker fell on the floor. And I watched to see my team members, they walked out, and I reached up and picked up and I ate it. Now here's the deal. I am not a germaphobe, bacteria. This is what we are. This is what we're bacteria, you know? And the fact that we have so sanitized ourselves that we're so frail and fragile. You know, when people say to me, well, you know, when you run a restaurant, you're supposed to be Clorox by the wash sink because you're supposed to dip the plates in Clorox after the soap, the rinse, and dip them in Clorox. That's an Illinois rule or Chicago rule or something. Really? If I give you some dirt and to eat it, you're going to be fine. If I give you a half a cup of Clorox to drink, you're going to be dead. You know, it just... Give me a bug. It's not vegan. That would be my problem with it. But it's not going to kill me. So I am not a germaphobe. Hey, Siri, can you turn the phone off?
I don't have an answer for that. Is there something else I can help with?
When they first got Siri, stop, go away. When they first got Siri, I was driving downtown one day, and I was in my car, and I love Marvin Gaye. And I said, hey, Siri, play Marvin Gaye, what's going on? And she came back, she said, I'm sorry, I don't have that in your library. So I asked for another way. I said, Siri, play. And she says, I'm sorry, I don't have that in your library. I said, you're full of shit. And she said, I'll pretend I didn't hear that. Freaked me out. Freaked me out. I'm like, really? I'll pretend I didn't hear that.
Is there a proper way, or like any tips you can give us on sprouting? Because I've tried sprouting and it's kind of like... Yeah.
Okay, tips on sprouting. It depends on the seed you get, you know, how the seed has been cared for. That does have something to do with it. And garbanzo beans can be a little more trickier than some of the other seeds. But what I recommend you doing is, I know there are all kinds of charts. You soak this one this many hours and this one. The only sprout that I found that you really had to dedicate the specific time to was a hard red winter wheat if you're growing wheatgrass. Everything else, I kind of have my own table of contents. I put it in before I go to bed, and I rinse it off in the morning. That's how many hours I do everything. If it's garbanzo beans, after the soak and the rinse, and you rinse for a day, you can continue to sprout them maybe in a refrigerator or a colder environment. That might help. But it really depends on finding a good place to get quality seed from. Has a lot to do with it.
Are most things like require the soaking or rinsing?
For a couple of days at least, until it gets a little tail.
Now, what about like these contraptions you can get, like machines that do it on their own and stuff? You ever tried one of those?
I've never had one, but I don't see why. You know, I use a mason jar with a screen, and I use my dishwasher to open up and put them on their side there. So I've made it very practical for myself. But yeah, there's a lot of those. I know the Sprout guys, and there are a lot of little apparatuses that you can buy that can help you. One of the things that I teach is that if you have a new intention or a new habit to bring to your life, make sure you can make it as convenient for yourself to do as possible. You know, so if having those contraptions are going to do it, great. If the contraptions are going to sit in a box, don't. If you have a place on your counter for the contraptions, great. Do you know what I'm saying? Think it out. What's going to make this easy for me? And maybe it's just driving by a store every other day too, you know, and keeping them in some water in the refrigerator. So, you know, have these new plans. They're perfect, but put them in order so that you can keep it going.
Is it more expensive to eat this way?
You know what? It may feel that way initially, but it's, I mean, if I spend so little on food because I don't require as much food. It may feel that way initially, but I think it's much less to eat this way. It costs a lot less. Especially
if you sprout, right?
Right, that's your protein and calcium right there. I mean, some of the things that they're making now, but you're not going to eat as much of it. And you know what? Who cares? This is your body. This is you. Who cares? If you have it, spend it on you.
I like to categorize things like beans, greens, grains, fruits, veggies, mushrooms, nuts, seeds, herbs, and spices. You could sprout the beans and the grains.
Absolutely.
So I could still categorize them in the same way for the raw person. So the beans, the greens, the grains.
You know what? I was known for my raw chili. I was known for my raw beans and greens because I sprout rice. You know, not white rice, but the wild rice. But yeah, anything can be sprouted. Anything can be raw, and it can be healthier for you. It takes a little longer to sprout rices because you have to keep rinsing a little more to get the starches. And I'll be doing some cooking shows on that too, coming up very soon. Yeah, you can sprout anything. I don't feel like I've given up anything. Yes, beans, seeds. And here's another little tip. My great-grandmother that I learned to cook from used to soak all beans before she cooked them because she said it kept you from getting gas. So we soaked our beans. She just didn't go the extra days and sprout them, but she always soaked our beans before she cooked them.
Now, what kind of supplements do you take?
Well, most of the things I take are, I do spirulina, green kamut, I do all the greens. I do D3, zinc, and vitamin C extra. And it's just, I go through periods. I give my husband like this many vitamins a day, you know, because he doesn't eat or live like me. But what else do I take regularly?
Do you take any fatty acid supplements?
Any what?
Fatty acid supplements? Because you said you eat like algae and all that. So yeah. I just wonder if...
No.
If
I were to look at it, I just do those three basics and...
Yeah, that was zinc and...
D3 and C. And I do
What about
enzyme.
B12?
I do not really, because I do the seaweed and stuff. I don't do B12, and I do for a lot of fermentation. That's what I do a lot of, folks. I forgot. I eat a lot of fermented foods. I
Now,
love
some seaweeds have analogs that are inactive that might actually prevent B12 absorption.
Yeah, I'm
If
trying to
you're
think. Well,
doing- if you're doing fermenting.
fermented foods too, so maybe that's why I haven't experienced any
Problems. Yeah.
any problems with that. Yeah, I'm real. That is something I get in every day. Something fermented.
So talk about that for a minute.
Well, fermentation, Dr. Wigmore, who was my teacher, used to literally, she never ate anything right out. She used to leave everything sit out overnight so it would get a little fermentation before she ate it, because the bugs and the bacteria become alive, and that's how it breaks down in your system. And I do get my B12 from fermentation. I do, and I pickle everything. From my garden, if something's left over, it goes in apple cider vinegar and, gets safe. So I am big on fermentation. I forgot about that. I'll even ferment watermelon. I'll ferment everything. Kimchi, yeah, there's a million.
Yeah, well, the problem with kimchi is a lot of times it ends up being too salty or something, But you can probably do it on your own without all that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, sprouting, fermenting, just straight up raw.
And lots of,
A lot of greens.
Yeah, green. Yeah.
So fermenting, what would be a good way to start with that? Because I'm not doing that.
Well, one of the things that I teach is making a drink called Rejuvelac, and I learned that from Dr. Wigmore, and it's very simple and easy to make, and you can make it with wheat berries or quinoa or rye. You could pick just about any grain. And traveling, you could put yourself some jars because it's not going to go bad. It's fermented to begin with, and carry it around. But the recipe, I can give you that recipe to make the Rejuvelac. I save a little. I use apple cider vinegar to do a lot of fermentation. I'll save something from a previous fermentation to add to the next one to keep it going. Or you can actually add probiotics to the waters and things. That's a whole class. I'll teach you fermentation. Because that is a huge part of what people should be taking in daily.
Yeah. So, but is it something that somebody can easily kind of just
do? Yeah, it's easy to do, but there's so many things on the market now. There's so many companies out there doing it. I'm trying to think of one. I buy a gut shot drink thing from this one place when I don't feel I have anything, and I drink the whole bottle sometimes. But yeah, that's my biggie. I'm forgetting fermentation.
And you probably have that daily or often?
Yeah, I feel like I have something fermented because I crave it. I want it. All of a sudden, I'll want something. I'll show you what I have in the refrigerator here, and I'll give you a taste of it because I keep it all around.
I guess kombucha is an obvious thing.
Well, kombucha, the problem is it's kombucha in moderation because people got crazy with it. And I know when it first came out, I used to have the mothers and make kombucha years ago before in my first raw restaurant. And we used to give the mother away because it was wrong spiritually to sell it. It wasn't an industry yet. But the problem with kombucha, according to Victor, my teacher, is he said that too much of it makes your system more acidic. And he said, you got to remember they are using sugar, they are using caffeine, and even though it processes it, he doesn't believe it's a great thing. So he told me that he didn't feel people should have more than 6 to 8 ounces of kombucha a day. Because I was crazy with it at first, too, because I don't drink, and I was getting drunk on the kombucha and don't know it. Oh, give me more of that.
I thought you said you don't do any drugs.
I didn't know, because, I didn't know what I was doing.
But you already said you forgot about fermentation.
You're right. But, so, yeah, you're getting some with kombucha, but there are better things out there now, too, that you can do without just doing tons of kombucha.
You have 2 books on soaking your nuts.
One is a recipe book, and the other one is the cleanse, me teaching detox.
And then you have
Wellness Spa. And I've almost always had a wellness spa to facilitate. When people would take my detox classes, I opened this to help them with the process of cleansing. And it just kind of took off. In Chicago, when I started, there were only 2 places that did colonics. And there were only 2 vegetarian restaurants, 1 vegan and 1 vegetarian. That's how many years ago it was. So I just had to create what I was teaching and wanted people to do. So I did the wellness spa. We do colon therapy, which I'm very big on, doing colonics or enemas during a cleanse. We have hyperbaric chambers, which I think is one of the most important therapies you can do now. When man was created, the oxygen levels were at 38%. After the Industrial Revolution, they were down to 22. We're living in the teens in terms of oxygen in our environment. All cancer cells, all herpes viruses, I don't care what you name the virus, they're anaerobic. They can't live in an oxygenated environment. So I'm real big. So I oxygenate myself through my food by being raw. I have hyperbaric chambers. We have all kinds of ways to do it. We have ozone bathing, the 3rd molecule of oxygen. So my spa is for the regeneration. And there's some relaxation stuff too. I mean, you get relaxed and all that, but we have massage and ear candling and lymph drainage and things like that, and a Rife machine. It's primarily for helping everything to regenerate internally and pulling all the negative stuff out. So that's the spa. I had the longest standing raw food restaurant in the country before it closed 6 years ago. So I'm going to do raw. I had Karyn's on Green, which was this magnificent plant-based restaurant. It was unbelievable, with a bar and everything. And then I had Karyn's Cooked with Conscious Comfort Foods.
The colonic stuff, these chambers and stuff that you have. I've had a couple other people that kind of swear by that and do that. And I've asked like Dr. Goldhammer and Frank Sabatino and these people, you know, what do you think about colonics and stuff? And they had some concerns about maybe losing some beneficial bacteria and it maybe not being necessary if you're eating properly. Is this mostly for people that are not plant-based, or is it even necessary if you're overall, you know, doing things right?
I wouldn't do a fast without an enema and implant. I wouldn't do a cleanse without doing colonics. And you see how I eat and how I live and what I do. I'll give you a quick example of what happened to me over the years through this process. So, because Dr. Wigmore taught, we did colonics or enemas and implants every day of the fasting or leading up to it. This is where I get this process from. So I was on one of my longer cleanses, and I started out with juice fasting, and I did a colonic or an enema every day for the 10 days of the juice fasting. And then I went into water fasting, and I was still doing, and you know, on the 17th day, I still got something out of my system. Now you tell me if you think you need one. You know, I've been eating this way all these years.
What did you get out of your system?
Poop. Something came out, a big turd. We have the Hydrosun. I call it Poop TV, so you can see what's coming out. If I lived in a perfect environment, the way God, Spirit, Universe intended me to live in, with the oxygen levels, the no chemicals, with everything in perfection as I was supposed to live as a human being, I wouldn't dream of doing a colonic or an enema. But Pythagoras taught enemas in his vegetarian village. That's how long ago, all right? So if I lived in a perfect, because juicing isn't natural either, okay? Half of what we're doing isn't natural. So if I lived in a perfect surroundings, you know, terrain for a human, no, I wouldn't do it. But I got cars honking, and boy, I've got, if I'm buying organic, it's next to the pig farm. I got people shooting their stuff out. No, my system isn't going to operate for me without assistance, because I'm living in a very hostile environment for human beings.
I heard something interesting. I think it might have came from Dr. Will Bolsewicz. I hope I'm saying that right. Have you heard of him? He's fiber fueled. He's a really interesting guy, really into the microbiome and all. There's some science to back this up as well. And I hate to say that because they're not really studying people like you.
Thank you for
that the more diverse your diet, the more, you know, beneficial bacteria will have. So the diversity, and you say you might monomill sometimes, and you're doing these colonics, and you know, it makes me think you might be narrowing your microbiome down, but you know, maybe you're not.
Well, one thing that I did learn, we don't just do a colonic or an enema, we do an implant afterwards. Dr. Wigmore taught with implants, so we always do a chlorophyll, wheatgrass, some form of implant after you pull everything out. Which is actually healing the liver. It's helping to break up the mucus. So we don't just do it. And I'm not into coffee enemas. I'm not into any of that. I'm into the water. Sometimes we put a little something in it to help break up the mucus. I've had people make sprouted fenugreek to help break up the mucus internally. And then after the process, you shoot wheatgrass or something up there. And that was Dr. Wigmore's process that I learned from her. So we're not just pulling things out. And then we give you, after your service here, we give you electrolytes to drink, and a couple of enzymes with probiotics in them. So I think I'm doing it responsibly.
Yeah. Thanks for going there, because I haven't been able to dive too deep, and people keep bringing it up. And you're the perfect person to dive deep.
Right, because I don't have any filters.
You have a quote you want to share?
Sure. I love to remind people that if you don't take care of your body, the most magnificent machine you'll ever be given, where are you going to live?
How can people find out more about you? And do you offer any other like products or anything?
How can people find out more about me? Well, Instagram is a great way. That's the only social media that I honor. No, it's not to say that they don't put me on all the other stuff, Facebook and stuff, but the only one that I really kind of pay attention to and will answer your direct messages is through my Instagram. Go to my website, shopkaryns.com. Go to my YouTube channel. I have almost all my recipes in my book. I have them for free on my YouTube channel. I give little nuggets of a 75-year-old giving you some good advice every so often. You can pick out some videos if you need to be re-energized about something. I have a whole line of products. I have several cleanses that I offer. I have my 28-day that I've been teaching for 45 years, 40 years or more. I have my 10-day detox, and I have a sugar break, real important. So you can check out my website to see my products, and if you join me on Instagram, you'll get all my notices.
And I want to put a lot of emphasis in my future videos as well, like these. I want to get more into raising children vegan, and because I think that's like the next big wave is.
I did a YouTube on mothers with this whole milk shortage, and I said, now's a great time. You can experiment, and I said, all you plant-based bloggers out there, send all the moms you know recipes. It's a good time to try them.
If people aren't raising their children vegan, they're setting them up for failure. Do you kind of feel that way?
Yes, kids are going to be smarter, less aggressive. They're going to have all kinds of wonderful attributes. But then I don't know a lot of people that grew up vegan, and we made it through okay, and we found the right way. So it may be a different road. But I don't want to say you're setting your kids up. I would love to see the change come, but I don't want to define what's going to happen in your life, because you may have some areas that I wasn't as strong and screwed up in, even though I made my kids plant-based. And here's the other thing to remember. Cahill Gibran, it's another person I like to quote. He said, our children aren't here to live for us or through us. They're here on their own. And that's what we have to remember more than anything. They're here for their own purpose and journey.
If you're brought up plant-based and it's more protective.
I've known a couple of people, like I know a little girl, she was brought up Amish, okay, and Amish plant-based on top of it. And she was one of the wildest little teenagers out there drinking and drugging and doing it. Do you know what I'm saying? And the best you can do if you don't know any different is what you do. Are you 100% raw? I can give you the same argument because you hear what's going on and what's right to be raw, but will you do it? You would do all this 100% better. I just don't like making people feel bad about their choices, even if they're not right, because we're all in the process of how we need to learn. And to me, I wouldn't make me want to go, oh, he says I'm doing bad for my kids. I'm going to run out and take all the meat out of the refrigerator. They're going to go, oh, that asshole is going to tell me how to live. I think it would be better to say, you know, it's going to be better. I don't want to give them that ultimatum. Maybe I'll make them hear what I say differently, and it'll create a sprout so their own evolution can come out, and it isn't because of something I said, it's because of something they know internally to do.
A person hearing this, you know, they might be feeding their kids hot dogs and burgers and junk food, and if they hear this,
maybe they're not meant to hear it in this moment. And I understand what you're saying. I really do. If you hear this, then why are you going to still give your children meat? Well, here's the deal. It's not going to do any good if they stop their kids and they don't stop themselves first anyway. So if you don't get it for you, you're not going to be able to get your children to do it. So instead of putting the focus on bad for doing this for my kids, wow, what am I doing to myself? And you will evolve into taking your kids off too. I don't believe you can take the kids off and not take yourself. I don't think it works that way. And I think if you are and you're still giving it to your kids, eventually you'll wake up when they have that 100th coal, rather than put that on them so they want to hear me the next time and maybe they'll get it, instead of saying, oh, that asshole says if I don't do this, I'm going to feel, because that's what they're going to be thinking. What I learned a long time ago, people are going to listen to you if they like you. So you find a way to say it where they don't feel bad about what you're choosing to show them. That's all. I'm just saying it's a different route. And I know what you're saying. If you hear this and then you still give your kids meat, what are you doing? You know, how are you actively, you know, giving them rat poison every day? That's basically what you're saying, and it's not going to help them to change. I'm just going for the result, not what I'm trying to get across myself.
So do you believe that raising children on a varied, whole food, raw, predominantly diet, the most protective?
Absolutely. That's why I did my kids that way. Absolutely. I wouldn't have given my kids a week off from school. I wouldn't have done everything. I mean, my kids were ostracized because it wasn't big back then. You know, they went to a Catholic school for a while. They couldn't switch lunches with anybody but the Indian kids. I mean, they were very ostracized for it. But I believed in it, and it's what I did. Of course I do. But it's like telling me what I can do with my body, telling you what to do with your child. We go back to the diversity of you just have to find. Of course I know it's right. But that isn't going to get you to know it's right because I know it's right and because I say it. How I live it is going to do it more so than what I say to you. And I will say once again, unless you get them to realize they have to do it, it's not going to, for themselves, it's not going to translate to the children in any way, shape, or form. So it's changing the collective thinking. I know it would be nice to concentrate on the children, and maybe they can create groups and more mommy things and where people are doing it. You know, for me, the way I get the point across to people is not by telling them, do you see what you're doing and what you're doing? It's by saying, you know what? You're going to feel this. I attract by what they're going through first. Because the cleaner they get, the cleaner their thinking is going to get, the cleaner they're going to care about their kids. If you got a dirty mind and you're telling somebody to clean up your kids, you got to go to the source. I have friends who, one of my dearest friends, I love her to death. And she's all for all of this. But her children have chicken and whatever else is around. And they have a pet pig and pet chickens. But she's one of the sweetest people I know, and she's raising 6 kids, and there's so many other things. So I can't concentrate on what she's doing. I can't make me feel bad about it, because then my energy is lessened for other people who are ready and need to hear it. There's so many different, who knows how your parents raised you, what you have things, you're coming from a different place. Everybody isn't coming from the same place. You know, I didn't read it or hear it. I just evolved into it. I looked and I thought, what am I doing? No, I didn't hear anybody else tell me. And that's what I'm saying. Everybody has that wisdom. And how do you get people to awaken to that wisdom? Is to clean out all the garbage and all the armor they've built up around them. And then all of a sudden, yes, this is right. But me hammering you on the head and go, look at what you're doing. And your poor kid, they're going to run.
When you were raising your children vegan, what kind of foods, like
I did half of it wrong. I didn't know what I was doing. Yeah. Peanut butter and jelly. I did all kinds of wrong things, I'm sure. I mean, I did right things and I made stuff and I love to cook, but I'm sure I did.
Did you raise them raw?
No.
At all? At any point?
I mean, we ate a great deal, but no. I mean, you got to understand, a lot of my thing, I kept them plant-based. They couldn't bring anything in the house. They ate sprouts. They didn't drink wheatgrass. But they were very rebellious toward me too in my lifestyle. You know, like you're friends with you're meeting friends, the kids will probably be vegans on their own because their parents eat meat. You know what, you can't, do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's what kids do. Yeah. You know, and like my son once said, some, not all, but my son once said something. He smoked cigarettes too and did drugs. Somebody said, Dino, how could you do that? And he used to work for me in my greenhouse growing wheatgrass. I didn't know he was growing regular grass too at the time. And he said, do you know what it's like having a mother that people treat like Jesus Christ and you really know her? That's what my kids had to live with. So did they? No, kids, they like to do opposite of who their parents are. Because there's so many other facets of life other than just the food. That's what I started out by saying. We put so much emphasis on the food. You know, how many times did I go sit in the park barefoot with my kids? Well, that I did. It was more important than the wrong food I gave them. And maybe these people that are doing meat are doing that. So there's just so much more to who we are than the food.
How do you prepare a child for that? Like when they go to their friend's house, do you talk to their parents? Do you give them food to bring?
I gave my kids stuff to carry. We always went to the movies with homemade popcorn and stuff. But I gave them incentives. You know, do this for it, and you have a week off from school. Do this, you'll get, you know, you bribe them for everything else. Bribe them, when they stay home sick, you know, you take care of them all. But my kids knew they didn't want to be homesick with me. I wasn't going to make it fun, you know, but stay home healthy. So you just have to switch it around. Yeah. To making it, incentivizing it, as opposed to this is a healthy thing to do for you. You bribe for everything else, so I bribed.
Do you try to avoid family members and stuff that are eating meat, eggs,
I'm going to a barbecue Saturday night. With
oh my goodness, how do you do that?
I sit way over there. I sit way away.
Yeah, yeah.
And I talk to people and I just ignore it. You know, like I'm dressed like this today and you may see me in Chanel and Versace tomorrow. I just can't be that pigeonholed.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, they're big designers,
okay.
Chanel, and you know, I mean, but I wear stuff from Target and too. I mean, I'm just not in. Yeah. I'm multifaceted. So I can go to a barbecue. Do I like it? Do I like the smell? No, it makes me nauseous. But you know what? These are family members I haven't seen in years and years and years. I'm not going to preach to them. They all know. And they're all going to feel slightly uncomfortable eating around me, which is why I'll go way over there, because I don't want anybody to be uncomfortable.
Sometimes I don't mind being right there in front of them, and I'll just be happy and positive and enjoying what I'm doing. It only becomes a problem when they glorify or like, oh, I'm so excited to be tearing this apart, and they just don't care at all.
Because they're doing that for you, right? They're doing that just to get that reaction out of you. They know exactly what they're going to do to get the reaction from you, because they know deep down. I'm ignoring this.
So I just quit going.
Well, maybe, I don't know. Maybe I was like that more when I was younger and in the beginning. Maybe I kind of grew out of it. You know, I don't know. Because, you know, in the beginning of when you're new to something, I'm talking about first 5, 10, even 15 years, you're kind of like, you know, and I think once it really becomes a part of you are and you're not fighting to show who you are and whatever, it just is, I think maybe I've relaxed in a lot of that. I don't know. How to encourage others to be better advocates. Yeah, tone down the rhetoric. Think of what you'd like to hear. Remember, you want people to like you, to listen to you. And I will give you a funny story about that. When I had my restaurant years ago, there was a woman that came in and she didn't want her receipt because of the ink or something, and it was whatever. And she was perfectly valid when I looked, but she was so distasteful. She was so rude and mean. I vowed to have that kind of paper forever. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I'm saying if this is the kind of person.
BPA, is it?
I don't know what it was. We don't, but it was something, and she was just so rude and so judgmental. And I was looking at that. I don't want to know anything about this. Listen to you. If this is what's going to make me to care about something like that, am I going to be this person, or am I going to be somebody that draws people to me? Which I am. Wherever I go, people come around me.
You're making me think of this quote, people don't remember what you say, it's how you make them feel.
That is exactly. It's how you, that's 2,000, it's not what you say, it's how you make them feel. 2,000%.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and get a tour of this place.
Yeah. Welcome to Karyn's. Thank you for coming by and showing people the space. One of the things I'm very proud of is all the copper. I have recycled most of the stuff here from my other places, but copper is very good for the immune system. So this is some stuff I got at Menards, but I kind of turned it around, and it's supposed to be backsplash in a kitchen, but I turned it around and made my door interesting and added more copper feeling to the place, because when people walk in, I want them to feel like they're in a comfort zone. This is the waiting room, the reception area, and of course I have healing amethyst here, the crystal. This is supposed to be and is a comfort zone for you to come and get all of your needs met to live in this very unique world that we do in. So this is my line of products that I use in my detox classes, but certainly people use them on a consistent basis just to kind of build up their immune system in their bodies and whatever. I have most of the things I believe in. I do oil of oregano, and I do oxygen drops, and I'm very big on digestive enzymes and all the different greens from chlorella, algae, my green meal enzymes. I'm very big on greens, kamutes. And I take in all these greens, and people ask me, which one is the best? And my answer is the one that you will do consistently every day. And that's the best one or more. In here, we have infrared sauna with a steam room. I'm very big on sauna, helping the body to sweat out the poisons. When people come to me and they say, oh, I don't sweat, I'm lucky, it's kind of like you're a walking time bomb because you're not releasing the poisons in your system. In here we have ozone bathing. They have 20 million documented cases of people healed with AIDS and cancer with ozone therapy. It's the third molecule of oxygen. And back here we have the vaginal steaming, and it's a regular sauna room also.
Do I want to show that?
One of my bartenders wanted to buy one for his house. Anyway, we have another sauna in here. It's a double sauna, a larger one. These are our treatment rooms where we do massage and lymph drainage, ear candling, and body sculpting. Another therapy room. This is the colonic room. It's in use right now. This is the hyperbaric chamber. We have one where you can lie down, but we found we had a lot of clients that were claustrophobic. So I bought the sit-up one too, so you can sit up. And once again, oxygen is, we can live without food and water, but we can't live without oxygen. And we're not getting enough from the air we breathe, and unless you're eating raw like me, you're not getting it from your food either. It's been taught that all viruses and cancer cells can't live in an oxygenated environment. They're anaerobic, so we're big on oxygen therapies here too. And this is the break room where all the fun happens. They're not allowed to bring meat, fish, chicken, or dairy in here. They can only bring plant-based food. And I supply them. I make them little goodies. I make them dehydrated goodies to snack on throughout the day, and I give them all the greens back here too. It's part of their day. This is one of the things I buy and drink regularly. It's a,
oh yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah, I was saying the probiotic drinks because I don't have the Rejuvelac right now that I usually make. You want to see next door real quick? This is the Wellness Spa in Flossmoor Commons. Hi. The sign isn't up yet. It will be up very shortly. So this is where the restaurant will be and classroom. This place was such a nightmare. What you doing, honey?
What do you need?
Now that's a good husband, wouldn't you say? I was pointing out that's a good husband. I'm giving you your props, sweetheart. And he's 78, soon to be 79.
All right.
I keep him busy.
You're on candid camera, man.
I've been in worse places in my life.
We're 39 years. This was from my Karyn's on Green restaurant. This is all recycled stuff from all my different places. It's exciting. I can't wait to get it open. This is Flossmoor Commons Shopping Center, Volmer Road. And then it's actually very easy to get out here. And the train comes out and expressway, and it's quiet.
Nice.
And everybody's friendly. It's the nicest people I've ever met in my life. It's like Mayberry, USA living out here. People look at you, they speak to you, they're nice to you. I love it. One of my employees brought me those roses, team members. But it's just, I don't know, it's just life is good. Didn't I make that door pretty? It was this ugly white chipped up door.
Yeah.
Hi.
I love this place.
Oh.
Oh my God, I love this place. Like, I feel like I'm walking out like a brand new person.
Oh, thank
I really
you.
do. I was in a sauna. I did the colonic and the bariatric thing, and now I'm buying your smoothies. I'm gonna go to my car to get my other credit card. I'm gonna tell everybody about this place.
Oh.
I'm serious. Like, all of y'all, the customer service here
It's off the charts, aren't the people? Because we all love what we do.
It's impeccable. Like, everybody is like naturally, genuinely good people. I'm definitely
what's your
coming
name?
back. Marsha.
Marsha, thank you.
Yeah,
You're
I'm
so
coming
beautiful
back.
too.
I'm coming back. I'm probably be back in a few days to get another sauna and colonic. Like, it's awesome. I got a cleanse before that Chicago cleanse or whatever. So I actually was gonna go back. I'm like, I don't feel like driving to Chicago, so I just Googled. And you know,
and
this came
Spirit
up.
took care of you,
Oh
right?
my God! I'm like, God is all in this place.
Thank
For
you.
real.
Oh, Marsha,
I love it. I love
you
it.
made my day.
Oh my God, I love it. Like, I really love it. I'm telling everybody about it.
Thank
I
you.
really am.
You can pick up your check later. No, I
No,
swear
I'm
to God.
serious. I'm gonna get.
You walked right into this.
Oh my God! Like, I'm
I
gonna
can't
go
believe-
back to get my other credit card because I'm finna buy more stuff. I said, Lord, but oh my God!
Thank
and
you,
they told
Marsha.
me you finna.
But restaurant next door.
Baby, bye. I'll be all up in here.
I couldn't have paid her better to do that, right?
That was awesome.
Wasn't it? It was like I cue, time to walk. Wasn't it like I cued her to do that? But that's the way my life goes, seriously. I did this calendar in 2016 for a charity. I did it for Paws, for a dog charity, and to sell it for them. This was my home when I lived on the Gold Coast. I did sayings, and this is my favorite quote: if you don't take care of your body, the most magnificent is where will you live? So that was my quote I started it with. Oh, I had to show off at 70 being in a bikini, but healing is not creating a perfect idea of a perfect body. It's revealing an idea that is already perfect. That's what we kept talking about. That was I had a spa for a bathroom. I had a Japanese soaking tub and a sauna and a steam. And that's me practicing at the ballet bar. Yoga. I have science for it. What is always speaking silently is the body. It's telling you. Trampoline. I trampoline every day of my life. Walking down steps. That was my old spa. I had 2 floors. That was the first raw food restaurant, the second one I had. That was my fine dining. My home again. My home. And my home, my kitchen, my old kitchen. But I don't live in this space anymore. And this is was my meditation area at the time. So they did a story about me and dining out. It's the only time they ever put a person on the cover, which I was pretty proud of. But this was my old restaurant. I look at that Karyn's on Green. That was the bar. It was absolutely gorgeous. I was way ahead of my time, though. I was helping Chicago to turn vegan is what I was doing. I was helping the world to turn vegan one meal at a time. I had chicken legs. I put a little stick in there. So this was my food there. And this was a book that I was invited to be in my 50s. It was about fearless women, and they have some very famous women in here from Sybil Shepherd and all, and where am I? Kathy and I. Oh, there I am. That's me, and that's my kids. When they were little, my daughter's 51 now, so you know how long ago this was. It's fearless women, so I was being fearless with the vegetables.
Okay. What was your answer to their question?
Here, it's right here. Yeah, it's if you could look back and tell your younger self is never change who you are to make other people comfortable around you.
I'm gonna be here tomorrow for the trio.
Yes, ma'am. I'll be waiting.
She's the greatest. This is just a piece of it. I have twice as much at my home. I love to read. Well, this is one of the first ones I read, Back to Eden. That was a beginning book. But I have more of the older ones at my house too.
Can people just like borrow these? Or?
Well, I used to have a thing. It says in some of them, "Watch your karma." I'm not loaning them out right now. Return, please. But I'm going to show you next door. I'm going to have a book section too for people to sit and read. Matthew, you got to wait till Mama comes back, okay? You just wait here. You stay. I'll be right back. You watch the place for me, okay? You're such a good boy. You're such a good boy. I love you so much. You want to do a couple of your little tricks for him? Sit. Come on, sit. Thank you. Can you sit pretty? Good boy. Oh, you're such a good boy. Down. Let's jump first. Jump. Yes. Okay, now wait. Now?
I wasn't ready for that. Yeah.
You want to do it again? Jump one more time. Woohoo! Okay. Now I want you to go down. Come on. I want you to go down. All the way down. Thank you. Roll on over. Come on. Keep going. You're such a good boy. Yay! All right. Okay. Let's have. We're going to show one more thing you can do. Stay. Free. He knows to come to me when I say free. Yeah, I'm a very good boy, huh? There's no such thing as a bad dog, just an untrained one, huh? And they want to please us so much. If you just take the time to do it, you can train them to do anything. Right, Matthew? Come on, get up on the couch. Jump. Good boy. Huh? Yeah, they are. That's one of the reasons I love poodles. All right, I'm going to make you go search for the others. All right, we'll go next door. I do that. I go out in the yard and I throw a bunch of treats on, make him, hunt throughout the yard to find his food. I used to hide my cat's food up on top of things and make him hunt for it. 'Cause I touched on it, but maybe reinforcing it is exceptionally important. Is instead of looking for ways to be different and differentiate from each other, looking for ways to be inclusive and help each other and accept each other as we are. Look for that good nugget. Everybody's got one, I swear to God. God loves rapists and killers too, And I'm not saying that we need to do, but I'm just saying we live with so much judgment and we make so many people feel uncomfortable on a consistent basis. Just everybody you see, find something nice to say about them. I usually go, oh, hey, I like your shirt. I was going to ask you, could I have that hat? No, I'm serious. Everybody's got something that, look for something that you can connect on or that you'd like to know about. That's number one. Number two, have a planned intention behind what you decide to change for yourself. And don't add a judgment to it. There's no right or wrong or good or bad or yes or no. It's just the process. And I like to remind everybody at the end to remember that if you don't take care of your body, the most magnificent machine you'll ever be given, where are you going to live? Thank you.